Welcome once again to Blackpool. We're at the Imperial Hotel. It's for the Riley'sPoker.com World 8-Ball Pool Championships and its quarter-final stages. Last week we brought you the first two more still to come. We had big shocks last week. What will happen this time? Let's just remind ourselves of the state of play. The defending champion, Mark Selby, went out to Gareth Potts 9-7, and Lee Clough, the local boy, thrashed Stephen Dempsey 9-0. Mick Hill takes on Carl Morris, and Phil Harrison is due to meet Rob Mackay. With me here in the studio is Lee Kendall. We had big surprises last week. What do you think might happen this time round, Lee?
Well, you've got Mick Hill against Carl Morris, two previous world champions. I can't see any further than Mick Hill, really. He's the form player again, winning plenty of tournaments in the UK. And the second one, you've got Phil Harrison, a seasoned professional, against a pretty much unknown to the outside viewers, Rob Mackay. So you'd expect Phil to come through that one quite comfortably. Just
going back to the first match, Carl Morris, he won this nearly 10 years ago. It's a long while since he was world champ.
It's a long time, and he has been away from the 8-ball circuit for a while. He's been playing a bit of American pool, so to come back at this level, there's going to be a big ask against somebody like Mick Hill.
Hopefully it will be entertaining stuff. Let's just remind ourselves then of the way these two players got to this stage. So Mick Hill, seeded then third in this competition, got a bye in the last 64, then beat Shane O'Hara, and a pretty comprehensive win too over Ronan McCarthy of Northern Ireland in that last 16. As for Carl Morris, well, his record looking like this. Seeded 5, won this title a long time ago, back in the 90s. Bye 2 in the last 64. Gavin Geraghty of Ireland going down 8-6 to him, and Ryan John 8-5. So there we are. We're all set to go for this one. We're going to join at the start. Once again, commentary from Sean Baker and also from Jim White.
Mick Hill will initiate the breaking sequence, this battle of two former world champions, Hill to break and Carl Morris in his chair. Best of 17 quarterfinal action in the Riley'sPoker.com Whirlpool Championships. Alongside my co-commentator Sean Baker, Jim White, bringing you all the action. And Sean, I'll tell you what, this is one to tempt the taste buds of every pool fan out there. The number 3 and number 5 seeds. And
well, it looks like it's started already, Jim. Carl is creating. It looks like he's not got his waistcoat on. And I think what he's complaining is his waistcoat would hold his shirt up, so he's concerned about leaning over and his shirt sort of touching a ball or when he plays a shot or something like that.
I know he seems considerably more upset than does Mick Hill in his chair, even though it's Carl Morris at the table.
I'm afraid Carl's mind games won't work with Mick Hill. Mick's known Carl a long time. And you say this is the battle of two former champions.
Red ball's in play.
Seen both seeded in this event, come through their section to meet in this quarter-final.
Carl Morris, the 1998 world champion, and sat in his chair there. Mick Hill won the event in 2004. But here he's saying he can't play without his waistcoat. His shirt's going to be... Well, he's obviously concerned, as you said, Sean, about his shirt.
It seems to be when he's queuing, the cue's going back, you think he's saying it's catching his pocket. Foul. Now he's played a foul.
2 visits. Yellow ball's in play.
I'm thinking about it. I can't play them again.
Well, you heard it.
Well, this is unprecedented. I'm sorry, this is unprecedented. I think the referee should now be stepping in and having a word with Carl at this point, because this is ridiculous.
Well, why isn't he wearing a waistcoat?
I honestly don't know, Jim, to be honest. He should be, so there's obviously been a problem with it.
Well, he probably won't, you know, until he starts upsetting Mick Hill, he probably won't get warned. But if I'm Mick Hill, I'm not playing a shot until I'm ready.
Well, Mick Hill is on the clock. We've already heard the 30-second call from the timekeeper, so he will have to be getting on with it.
And I think the fact that he's just dislodged that yellow pretty well gives us his intentions. He's going to try and win it at this visit.
Yeah, and to be fair, all the balls are there now. Mick's just got to find his way around them. And again, Mick's he's not one of those that flies around the table. Once he makes up his mind, though, the way he's going, he will get on with it. So, as you say, he's wasted his visit straight away, moved his bad ball.
He does cue nice. Out of all of them, the Mick Hills and Chris Mellings, certainly the defending world champion. Mark Selby has to be considered in that category. They just cue the ball so sweetly. That long, fluid action. They move that white around effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, just looking before, I mean, Mick Hill's 27. He just seems like he's been on the scene forever, to be honest. And that cue action's never changed in all those years, Jim. He looks just the same now as it did probably when I first saw him play 10, 11 years ago.
And in fairness, Sean, the only time you ever see him without a smile glued to his face is when he's playing.
Yeah, that's right. He's a real likeable character, Mick. You say, oh, he's got a smile on his face generally when he's around the hotel, you know, during championships and tournaments, and very passionate about the game, though. Very passionate about it. He thinks a lot about the game, you know, and he's obviously, this game is his life. I know at recent finals at Vauxhall Holiday Park, he won a professional title there, and that was his first title for quite a while. And he said he's now sort of rededicating himself back to the game of English 8-ball pool. And I think I said, as I wrote at the time, it's bad news for all the fellow professionals he's got out there, because Mick Hill on form is an unstoppable machine.
30 seconds.
And again, the 30-second warning. There's no real problems here. This is just about controlling that cue ball. He's got to be very careful. He needs a desired angle on the penultimate yellow, because the yellow nearest the bottom left, that closest to the black there in your picture, that's obviously going to be one that's going to concern him. That's the problem yellow, if there is one on the table.
To be honest, Jim, I thought he might have gone for that one next, but obviously didn't want to. And he thinks that's his ball for the black when he's plotted his way around. I don't know.
30 seconds.
I just had again the 30-second warning. Got to be careful not to touch anything too. That's all right. He can get the cue ball over the left-hand side of the table. Now he doesn't want too much angle, because that black does not pass into that pocket. The pocket that he's going to be playing the last yellow to. So Mick's got to be a little careful here. He's played this with a lot of power. And I don't know whether that's going to work out. He's going to have to float this in and try and hold for position, possibly to the left center for that black. He was trying to get below that black to leave the angle to play the black bottom right. So now just float this in. And this black to the left side pocket for the 2004 world champion to take the first frame here in Blackpool. And down it goes. It's Mick Hill who opens his account here in this race to 9, best of 17. He leads Carl Morris 1-0. Will frame 6 see a turnaround of fortunes for Carl Morris? He trails right now 4-1 to Mick Hill. And he's got to try and make some inroads into that deficit. And for the second time in as many breaks, Morris leaves the table with nothing to show from his break.
Yeah, he was very unlucky there. There was a red that virtually went into the middle pocket, but it's just hit the knuckle and come back out again. It's a couple of difficult ones here. You see there, he's pointing at yellow. He's looking at maybe taking yellows, playing the yellow onto that red into the corner pocket, and freeing that pocket up then for the other yellow. That's probably the one awkward yellow on the table. All the rest are fairly straightforward. It looks like he may be playing. Oh no, he wasn't playing the plant.
Yellow
He might
ball's
have been
in
playing
play.
the plant to begin with, which is obviously always fraught with danger. But he's taking the yellows, and say probably one good shot in this frame, and he's going to be extending that lead again.
Well, that's assuming that yellow you alluded to. As he looks here, he's got choice of yellows, but the one you were talking about nearest the bottom right corner doesn't pass to the other corner that he's looking at right now. but he's got plenty of options.
Yeah, and I'm sure you'll be seeing Mick go at that ball fairly early on. It could be that he looks to try and come back up the table, and the one that's on the right hand side near the two reds on the right middle pocket, play onto that and try and finish dead straight on it and run through. As you say, take that yellow into the bottom left then.
Yeah, I think that's his game plan. I think he'll knock this in, get over straightish on that yellow nearest the bottom right corner that he's looking at right now, and be able to follow through. And again, this all assuming the yellow nearest the bottom of the table as we look passes to the bottom left corner.
Well, the way he's going about this finish, I think it does. Because you see what he's played there now. Well, he probably wanted to be a little bit straighter on this.
That's perfect. That'll do nicely. Good cue ball control.
Yeah, with having that other yellow there, it gave him he had another get-out clause there. So he just run through on this, take that one into the bottom left, and he's got the simple one over the middle pocket.
But he really did have to be fairly straight on this yellow. If he'd overhit it or underhit it, everything would have changed.
I think we see there that yellow just does pass that red. And he hasn't got to do too much with the cue ball here. So he could just elect to just roll this virtually dead weight to drop it in.
This doesn't have a full pocket.
Well, he was a long way away with that, Jim.
And I really can't see Carl Morris letting him off this time.
Just can't understand why Mick was trying to put anything on that ball. But if he just ran through on it, he was perfect on the one over the middle. So anyway, it's not to be. Carl looks like he's making light work now of these reds.
I think from a psychological standpoint, this is important too. Dish up and dish up quick, so you can burn the memory of that bad miss into Mick Hill's memory banks. See if you can plant some negative seeds of your own. A slightly overran position, was intending the red to the left center. He's going to have to shoot the red to the top right corner.
You see Carl still talking to himself there.
Well, the reason he may be shooting this, even though he's hampered cueing over that red, is if he missed it, he wouldn't be leaving an easy yellow. But for me, he's got to show some confidence. He's got to show some fight. And that was the reason that I saw him shooting that red. I think when you play an opponent like Mick Hill, who comes out with guns blazing, Sean, you've got to fight fire with him.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Well, he pulls one back, Carl Morris. He still trails Mick Hill 4-2.
And welcome back to Blackpool. Well, we left that last quarter-final with Mick Hill leading 4-2. He then surged on to 7-2, but they don't call Carl Morris Houdini for nothing. Take a look at what happened in frame 10.
The number 5 seed, Carl Morris, trailing 7-2, steadies himself to break. He's moved the cue ball to the center of the table. He has had no success whatsoever from the side, and finally,
Yellow ball potted.
Morris sees a ball down. Sean, how important is this visit?
Well, this could be a turning point in the match. Or he's certainly got to take this frame if he wants to see any chance of him reaching the semi-finals. Because for him to lose this frame and then Mick to come to be breaking to win the match, I think the writing would be on the wall for Carl Morris. But he's got a great chance here. It was a nice split. Could have taken reds or yellows. Elected the yellows, and He's making short work of this so far, Jim.
Yeah, Mick Hill looks on very comfortable, and why not? 7-2 his lead. But he also knows Carl Morris is the heart of a champion, and there'll be no give-in from the 1998 world champion Morris.
Yeah, well, I think he's just come a little bit too far on that. Finished on the wrong side of that yellow. He wanted to be able to run through and come down the table off it. Take the one into the middle. And then drop on the one on the bottom rail. So again, a little bit of Carl magic here.
Unwanted cannon on the reds, trying to weave that cue ball back out to the middle of the table, and now has he got one more trick up his sleeve? He's shown us a couple in this match. A testament really to how well Mick Hill has played. And that is just a mighty slash, but
That is absolutely ridiculous.
and he puts his hand up. But what happened? I blinked.
He's just slammed that yellow round the table and finished almost perfect on the yellow on the bottom rail. That is just the most ridiculous shot I've ever seen in all the time I've been refereeing and watching.
And Carl Morris accepts it gratefully, pulls one back. It's still 7-3 in favor of Mick Hill. Looking to secure his spot in the semifinals. It's an 8-4 lead that brings Mick Hill to the table. Frame 13. He has not failed off the break yet.
Yellow ball bottom.
And again, looking at those balls, I
Ball's nominated.
think he'll like reds here. Only because there's 5 of them all clustered together down the table, and once he clears them, the black's going to be free, and the yellows are slightly more awkward with 2 on side rail. So, well, that's the
ball's in
first
play.
part of the equation, because now he's on reds. Just needs to get that back down the table. Just be a little bit careful reaching over here. He's got all those balls are going to be under his body potentially. So.
Just one good positional shot. Sean, if he gets onto a red from this one, this is the only one the wrong half of the table as far as he's concerned.
Has he made it?
Well, he just dropped his shoulders. It certainly looks to be on. I think the problem for Mick is getting onto another red.
Yeah, because I think he's going to be running in towards that yellow on the side rail. He's going to look in trying to avoid that, as you say, and get onto another red, because he needs to be on the left-hand side of the table for all of these reds.
He's cannoned into the yellow, and that's taken him out of position. Just flick that yellow coming off that right-hand cushion. And Carl Morris will be getting out of his chair at least one more time.
Yeah, I just wonder if Mick isn't just trying that little bit too hard here. He obviously wants this match desperately to book his place in that semi-final. He's just got to be careful that he doesn't just, waste 1 or 2 frames. And he's played a great shot there.
Yellow ball's in play.
And another tap of the tail from Carl in acknowledgement, because that is an excellent shot. He's asking for the total snooker, whether he can't quite see that yellow just to the right. It's not been given by referee Phil Turner, so he's going to have to come up with something special here now again.
Well, if he can't get through to that yellow enough to be able to attack, after slotting that red over the corner pocket, Mick Hill has to feel like he's going to get another gilt-edged opportunity to seal the deal here.
I'll tell you what, Carl's going to have to get on with it here, because the 30-second warning came from quite a while ago. He's had a look at the clock. So he knows where he is. What has he done there?
Well, by the look of it, not too much. He's pushed the black into the middle of the table, but Mick's got the red over the corner pocket. It looks like the red bottom end of the table passes.
Yeah, I think he's just got to get out of there from behind those two yellows. Get position on one of the other two reds, and he's going to be home and dry. What has he played there?
That may not be too bad. That could be a blessing in disguise. This was not the intended red. You could tell by his body language, but believe me, this might be the best way to go.
Yeah, because now he's run through on that red.
Exactly. Just knock this in, just a stop shot, straight in the red bottom left, and just follow through a little, and you're going to have the last red to the bottom right with a bit of angle to get up for the black. So this is actually ideal, mind you. Again, he's not left the easiest of reds, making life difficult on himself, and what he's hoping is going to be the last frame played in this quarterfinal.
Yeah, I think he might have wanted to finish just a bit further down the table as well, so it wasn't. Cuba was going to be coming towards the bottom rail when he plays this shot. And again, he's not making easy work of this finish.
Just one good shot, though. Should avail the finish line. And it's there. He can breathe easy now, Mick. Yeah, you can celebrate now, Mr. Hill. You are through to the semifinals. The 8 disappears, and Mick Hill, a convincing 9-4 win over Carl Morris. One world champion goes home, another one advances. It's 9-4 to Mick Hill.
So Mick Hill making it 9-4 in the end, but it was a pretty eventful match. And I just wonder about those sort of mind games. I don't know what was going on with Carl Morris. What do you think was happening?
Well, he always does like to play the mind games, and we see Carl here stretching over the table. He didn't have his waistcoat, and he did have a very good point that he should have been allowed to wear his waistcoat.
And he's committed the foul, but listen to this.
2 visits. Yellow ball's in play.
I'm thinking about the counter again.
Yeah, he is a very emotional player, but you know he should.
He was plainly upset, but throughout the match, I noticed he was trying to talk to Mick Hill. Mick kept turning his face away because he obviously knew something was going on.
I think Carl was playing a bit of the mind games, but I think he was expecting to get his waistcoat before he come out, and he did make a big thing of it. So this time I understand Carl's point of view, and Mick was very professional just to cut it out.
But supposedly he arrived with he had too many logos on the waistcoat, was told he couldn't wear it,
Yeah.
tried to get it changed, it wasn't ready in time. But the tournament rules say if you're going to change your waistcoat, you've got to do it 28 days in advance, not 1 hour.
Yeah, I mean, that's a grey area because people are flying from all over the world to play in the tournament, and then you don't get it checked until you get through to the TV stage. So in theory, you've probably got a day at the most, and they get a badge sewn on for the sponsor. So.
Yeah.
There's a bit of leeway both sides, I think.
But in the end, no real surprise there, because it was the way you expected it to go, Mick Hill winning.
Mick Hill won as expected. Yeah, he's playing really well this season.
OK, Lee, thank you for that. Let's just then confirm the way we now look, because 3 out of the 4 have gone. Here's confirmation that Mark Selby is also out. Lee Clough going through at the expense of Stephen Dempsey. And Carl Morris, a fairly controversial quarter-final, going down 9-4 to Mick Hill. Phil Harrison against Rob Mackay. That is next, and that is coming up next after the break. So stay with us. We'll see you in a couple of minutes.